What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jobbers and Goons, and today we return to comic book movies. This is where I narrate some of the greatest story arcs to ever hit comic books and give you guys my style of storytelling to flesh it out in movie format. And for today, I have decided on a story that absolutely always gets me going. Like, I'm always fucking hyped when I talk about it, man. And that is New 52 Sinestro and his war against the Pale Bishops and how he saved the universe and even Superman, who we've been gassing up lately, right? But before we get into this, smash the like button, 200 plus like if you love stories like these, and I want to see you guys in the comment section down below. Let me know which stories need to be covered next in these formats. But without further ado, I'm super excited for this one. Always get hyped telling this one. Y'all know I kill the game whenever I bring the hype. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. This is Sinestro vs. Everyone, the movie. Now, this story starts out with Sinestro in kind of self-seclusion, right? Isolation, so to speak, in forgotten space. And he is talking about this forgotten temple he is at. And he talks about how before inevitability, faith breaks and is replaced by fear. By the way, Sinestro has so many fucking bars in this story, it's ridiculous. But he's talking about how they were great worshiping monks there, and maybe if he had been there, he could have enlightened to them to the reality of the situation, right? Like, if you don't understand and appreciate fear for what it is, eventually you will break. Like, when it boils down to it, that fear will overtake you. And this isolation is occurring because at one point, if you guys don't know, Blackest Night in that storyline, Sinestro was kind of compromised. And Sinestro's a fucking real one. If he feels he went out a bitch, if he feels like he disrespected the set or let them down, he's gonna punish himself for it. And that's what he's doing here. And that's a beautiful way to start off the story, because this story is based fundamentally on how Sinestro approaches everything. And he approaches it as, yeah, he might be an asshole. Yeah, he might be a dick to a bunch of people. But ultimately, he is trying to save the universe. He's doing the best he can as a leader. And sometimes he punishes himself viciously for making mistakes. Then the GOAT, Sinestro, gets into more about his recent past endeavors. This includes him bodying Parallax. If you guys don't know, Parallax is the embodiment of fear. Think about all possible conceptual fear throughout creation. Parallax would be the god of that. Like, that's the literal representation. And at one point, infamously, Parallax took over Hal Jordan and started shooting shit up. Like, destroyed a city instantly, was fighting all the heroes, just doing horrible shit. So even big dogs like Hal Jordan, it gets rough with Parallax. Yet Sinestro kept it bodied. And he was like, man, real shit, I became so strong that my power was so bright, it blinded me, and I'm glad I'm here. And that's when we see the story really start to pick up, right? Because Lissa shows up. Now, Lissa shows up, and this is a character that kind of has a cosmic importance to save the universe at this point, because she's explaining to Sinestro that there is a universal nothingness descending upon the universe, and it is eating emotion. It is actually anti-emotion. It brings literal nothingness to everything, and it will destroy everything it touches. And Sinestro was like, damn, that's some tough shit, dog, but I'm out of the game. Like, I'm just out here chilling, punishing myself. Like, I don't even use my ring anymore. I don't bring fear to people anymore. That's not what I do. I'm in isolation. And this is when we see a crazy moment of Lissa starting to recite the past stories and glory bars of Sinestro, right? She's simply retelling all the amazing and insane things Sinestro has pulled off over the years. And this alone brings his yellow lantern back. It starts charging up. And Sinestro's like, oh shit, this is someone that's truthful. Like, Lissa really is here to save the universe. And despite punishing himself, despite being mad at himself, that doesn't take precedent over protecting everyone. Because regardless of how he feels, Sinestro is going to hold the universe down. If shit hits the fan and everything's going to end, Sinestro will be on that front line. And he will do what he can to save the world. That's just how he is. He was a Green Lantern at one point. Fear to him is more efficient. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, that's what's bigger to him. And that's when we see Sinestro return to the Yellow Lantern Corps. And this is a funny moment because he pulls up on them and they're like, yo, you pussy, you quit on us. And the leader, I believe his name was Arkillo at the time, he's talking big. He's like, hey, Sinestro, you're a quitter. You're not even like someone we respect anymore. I don't even know why you think you can pull up on us. Basically just tells them like, hey, look, I know I've been away for a minute. Maybe y'all feel some type of way, but you're still a pussy to me. Sinestro's like, yo, I know you got the sauce now. Like, you're the leader and all that, but no chance you think you can beat me up. No shot you think you can rumble with Big Sinestro. So what I'm gonna need you to do, Arkillo, is shut the fuck up. And Arkillo had to walk away. He's like, all right, you're kind of right. And that's where we see how important Sinestro is to the universe, right? And this is because Sinestro's legacy is a complicated one. We've kind of touched on it already, but the way he runs things, the way he does things is not always seen as the right thing to do. But to him, he's getting the job done, right? And his past story and his legacy will be defined by Sinestro. No one else. Like, that's an important theme. He's going to go down as one of the legends of the universe. Regardless of the universe loves him for it or not, he will be iconic. He will be remembered. And then we see a brawl break out, right? This is a funny moment because Sinestro showed, yeah, you should have never disrespected me. But this more so because of his daughter, right? So if you guys didn't know, Sinestro does have a daughter, and she was captured by the Yellow Lanterns. And when Sinestro sees her locked up, loses his shit immediately. Starts beating the shit out of Arkillo. He was like, yo, you fucking suck. You think you can kidnap my daughter and not get your ass beat? That's not how the world works, my friend. Starts punishing Arkillo. And he even casually one-shots a ring with a thought. And this action, this casual action by him, is so scary to everyone else that just the fight ends. Like, there's nothing to beef about anymore. Like, Sinestro clearly is on some shit, and he's ready to be on some shit. So they need to relax and not step to him. That's when we see the first run-in with the Pale Bishops. These Pale Bishops are monsters. Like, they are literally walking anti-emotions. Literal hacks to existence and existing on an emotional state. It'll pretty much turn you into a vegetable in the worst way, literally, conceptually. And they start rolling through the Yellow Lanterns. But Sinestro pulls up on this bishop, right? And he's like, hey, real shit, I know you're fucking my homies up, but you're not going to do me like that. Let me show you what the hands do. I'm not going to lie, guys. Stand the fuck up for this. Because you're going to have to remain standing for the rest of this story because Sinestro just gets me fucking hyped, son. So he's going against them and they're mind hacking him. And it's kind of funny. They show him like Hal Jordan basically being better than him and bagging his daughter. And Sinestro just goes, if I fell for shit like this, I wouldn't be fit to lead these boys. And they hit him with the truest sense of fear possible, like the ultimate weapon, absolute power of fear. It's in its purest conceptual sense. And he's saying to himself, like, these motherfuckers don't understand, bro. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know what I've had to endure. They don't know the demons I fight, the fear I've had to master. They don't know who the fuck Sinestro is. And they look at him breaking through this and they're like, oh my God, this one has mastered emotion at its purest. Like, we just hit him with pure emotion and it wouldn't work. We are going to have to perform a holy exorcism on him. They basically had to hit him with their final weapon. That was the plan, right? Too fucking bad. Because Sinestro gets up and is like, all right, bitches, I let you show me your power. I let you try to put me down, but you don't understand who you're stepping to. Let me show you what the work looks like, son. And he starts putting fucking hands on them. And something they don't understand is at some point in their life, at some point in their existence, they knew fear. They felt fear. Whether it was a scary story as children, whether it was the fear that their lives are built up on. Regardless, Sinestro breaks them. He actually takes down the Pale Bishops, which narratively were basically told at that time no one could really do. Like, this was unheard of. This was not supposed to be a counter, but Sinestro's a different breed, you know? He fucking swung anyway. This was a crazy moment as well, because it highlighted the just honestly never seen before power of Sinestro. The other Yellow Lanterns at that point, they're getting depowered. Their rings are actually dropping in power. They're like, oh shit, we want to continue, but it looks like we're running out of power. And he casually just recharges them while continuing on like nothing happened. His daughter and the others are like, yo, what the hell was that? And Lissa just looks at him and she keeps it a buck. Like, hey, W for Lissa down in the comments. She was like, I'm going to be real with you. You're probably going to ask me how he did that shit. You won't be able to do it anyway, so just don't even ask. Instead, watch him cook. You're not Sinestro, so don't worry about it. And that's when a badass and just kind of low-key funny, because it was so disrespectful, moment happens. Hal Jordan pulls up, and Hal Jordan swings on Sinestro. Now, you would think this would put Sinestro down, getting hit off guard by a pissed-off Hal. He thought it was an illusion. He was like, oh, this wasn't a prank? Okay, that's weird. In the same Yellow Lantern Corps that was terrified of what Sinestro could do, they pull up on Hal. And they start putting hands on him low-key. Like, they were throwing them shits. And Sinestro steps in. Sinestro's actually being very reasonable at this point. Like, in my opinion, he was being real cool as compared to how Hal was acting. And he goes, look, Hal, first of all, you're a bitch. And even though, you know, we've had our back and forth, Hal, you don't need to be here right now. You don't need to be beefing with me. There is no sense in us having beef because we should be cooking on the same side of the stove. So Hal, just back up and be cool. He's not going for it. And somewhat reasonably so. I do think he was being a dick, but you know, you can understand why he's being that way. He and Sinestro have always beefed. So he's like, dude, I don't believe you. You're on some fuck shit. And Sinestro is talking about the time when he took over Parallax. He has even defeated and taken over Parallax in his weakest points. Like, in a weakened state, he was able to pull that off, which is insane, because very few things can actually beat Parallax. And this is when we get into one of the worst ass whoopings you'll see in a minute. Hal keeps pressing, right, and keep trying to go back and forth. And Sinestro said, all right, you're gonna talk all this shit, you're gonna talk crazy, let me teach you a lesson then. And he says, Parallax, the very thing you're afraid of, the very thing that took you over, the very thing that took you over and had you kill your friends, the people you love, blow up your own city, all that shit that traumatized you. He said, that very thing is my bitch. And he reveals he has enslaved Parallax still has it there. And he unleashes it, right? Because he can bind it to objects, to people, whatever he wants. He's a monster. And he unleashes Parallax on Hal and fucks Hal up. Like, Hal gets absolutely mauled. And when he's down for the count, Sinestro said, hey, I just want you to know that no matter how little you think of me, no matter how much shit you talk, I was successful where you failed and where you got all your people killed. You will never be the man that I am. This is when we see him continue his shit talk, right? Because what's Hal gonna do? He's fucked up. There's nothing he can really say back. He's getting cooked. This is a bad look for Hal Jordan. Sinestro goes, real shit. This is how you can know I'm not trying to mess with you. Because I could just pull up on you with me and Parallax and cook you. Not just that, we would cook the entire Corps. I have complete control of my emotion, and I have a complete control of fear. So I think it'd be wise for you to shut your mouth. Leave me alone and let me continue on my journey. And that's when we see another aspect to this war/situation is going on. The Indigo tribe and others are currently under attack. Now, who are they being attacked by? That's a good question, because usually a lot of things don't just pull up on lanterns. Especially we rarely see the Indigo tribe involved. And they're getting beat up by the new gods. Highfather has dispatched one of his warlords, Becca, to come take down the Indigo tribe. And they're getting slaughtered. Like, this new god army is no joke. And that's when one of the Indigo tribe members goes, yo, what the hell? Are we being saved by Yellow Lanterns? and we see the yellow lanterns fly in and start swinging on the new gods and their general. Like at this point, and this is going to be a major theme touched on throughout this arc, Sinestro being there changes everything for the Yellow Lanterns. They get so much stronger. They're so much more confident with a leader like Sinestro. And they're confident enough to go against the new gods. And she's killing some of these lanterns. She's tearing them apart. And she's talking shit. She's like, dude, I am with the new gods. My power comes from High Father. None of this light shit scares me. And that's when Sinestro says, shut up, bitch. And she turns around and gets into it with Sinestro. However, she's just not on the same level of Sinestro, both mentally and honestly, power-wise. He starts talking to her about what's going on, basically mind hacks her, and gets her to start leaning towards his side, because she realizes, like, oh shit, I'm dealing with a real one. Because what Sinestro's trying to do is he's trying to save the universe, and he's just too smart, and she is pissed, because this outwitting leads to her people getting fucked on, basically, and Sinestro got out of there. He dipped. And she's pissed. But again, he's planted that seed that's going to help win her over. This is when we see Sinestro is beefing not just with new gods, but High Father himself. For High Father is powering this general, giving her the will and power to go forth and dominate. And it doesn't matter to Sinestro. He's like, dude, fuck the new gods. We're pulling up regardless. The back and forth continues as Sinestro comes forth to the general, Becca. And he's already watched her, battle space pirates that he kind of helped attack her. And she's pissed because it's a projection of him. And she's talking shit. She's like, you're afraid of the new gods. You're afraid of the generals. That's why you send people forth to fight your battles. That's why you're not even here. You guys are a bunch of children compared to us. And that's when Sinestro makes himself like a massive giant compared to them. And he goes, oh, you see us as children. And he lets her know as she sicks her people on him. He was like, I got the space pirates to attack you. I coaxed them into attacking you. Not because I wanted to see what you were capable of, but it was because I love to watch you work. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, Sinestro is a wild boy. And we see it kind of jump to Sinestro talking to John Stewart. Like, Sinestro was able to save John Stewart and some others from inevitable death and took them to the antimatter universe. And Stewart's getting pissed because he's like, yo, you're kind of ignoring me when I'm telling you what's going down, how many people are dying, how crazy of a situation this is. And Sinestro goes, John, you forgot to say sorry. And we see John go, what? And he said, yeah, in my time of saving you, you got so pissed off about other shit. I think you forgot to thank me for bringing you to the antimatter universe and saving your life, bitch. So shut your mouth and stop belittling me. And this jumps over to my boy Arkillo. Big dog, Arkillo. I know he got bitched by Sinestro, but who doesn't? So Arkillo at this point obviously is way back on board with Team Sinestro. He's like, yo, the GOAT's back and he's actually putting in work. I'm riding regardless. And we see the daughter of Sinestro has been taken in by Green Lantern, suspected of working with Sinestro. Arkillo's not going for that shit. He said, yo, that's the liege and the daughter of Sinestro. Touching her is an act of war to me. So you motherfuckers are getting beat up. And he starts sliding on a dozen lanterns by himself. He was actually holding his own too before the fight got broken up, which is just crazy respect for Arkillo for putting in that work. So this was a moment going back to him and Becca where she's talking to him and she's like, yo, you have mad confidence that you can win, huh? And he's like, yeah, more confidence than you think. Matter of fact, the only shame here is that you do have hands. Like, you're legit. And you are going to die and get cast into the void by your daddy when the ones that you just called children come through and beat y'all's asses. And he said it would be a shame to see that go to waste. And it kind of leaves that moment with him going, Becca of the new gods, you have the power to instill great fear. And we see her eyes get wide. And that's when we pan over to Sinestro running down on New Genesis. He's actually pulling up on the new gods. Ain't no pussy in Sinestro, dog. Like, he's so real. And he pulls up on even Orion. And he's like, yo, I'm here because y'all think you can just run up on us like shit sweet. He's like, I need you and your people, your gods, to understand that even the gods shall know fear. And Orion tries to run up. He's like, yo, I don't know why you think you could just run up here. Sinestro says, shut up, bitch. Catches him immediately. Like, just wraps him up and he's like, y'all started this. I'm here to send a message on behalf of everybody. You're not just going to bully us. You're not going to bully the Lantern. Sinestro is in town. And we see him go forth with Parallax, and it was funny because Parallax doesn't want to go with him. He's like, hey, Parallax, you know how this shit goes if we fight. Don't make me ask again. And he says, I understand the concept of pulling at your leash, but you need to understand that you know the outcome of us playing tug-of-war. And we also, by the way, know this They'll Know Fear is legit because they're doing all this. They're doing this universal searching and taking of weapons to prepare for Darkseid's comeback. So they do fear something. They fear the return of Darkseid. They fear inevitable war. So there's truth to that. And Sinestro is entirely confident he can get the drop on the new gods as they are preparing to warp to Earth. And we see he's contending with big dogs like Metron's in the fold, Highfather, all this. So it's not like he's just facing random new gods. And they state that they're going to take Earth within days as soon as they siege it. There will be some resistances, but you know, they'll be good after a bit. And Sinestro pulls up at that point, which is crazy. He just shows up to Highfather and all the other gods. All the gods are like, oh shit, I can't believe he just walked in. And this is when we get a crazy exchange between Highfather, who by the way has the life equation, and Sinestro. And by the way, smash the like button if you haven't already, because we're getting close to the end of part 1. This is going to be a saga because the movie would be really long to make. I'll probably drop it in 2 or 3 episodes and then give you guys the full massive movie at the end, because I think we're already over 30 minutes or close to that. But Sinestro walks in talking his shit, right? He's like, you know Earth goes harder than you're giving it credit for. And they're like, who the hell do you think you are? And even some of the gods are like, Highfather, that's the head of the Fear Lanterns. Like, he's crazy as a bitch. And Highfather's like, don't worry about that shit. Why are you here? And Sinestro goes, I am the champion of the people of Earth. I represent them. And I thought it was time we met on equal footing. Hey, Highfather didn't like that. He's like, equal footing? You think you can fuck with me as a mortal? I'm a god. And Sinestro's like, don't care, bitch. I'm here to offer you my counsel if you were to listen to me. And Highfather just does not do well with this. He starts swinging on Sinestro. And by the way, this is true form Highfather. Pissed off with the life equation. He's hitting him. He's like, you dare come up here talking crazy shit, trying to tell me what to do when I have the life equation. If I wanted to, I could just pick you apart. And Becca is there. And she's like, you know, Father, I think he's done. But wait, he's doing something. And we see Sinestro's getting up as he took these hits like a fucking champ. And his boy Despo is rearranging coordinates for Sinestro to help on the mission, basically, to save Earth and help Sinestro win this overall war. And as Highfather's walking down on him, Despo says, location's been reprogrammed. And that's when we see Sinestro say, you done good, Despo. Like, get out of there. You're going to help save these worlds. And Despo says, I'm not going to make it out of here. I'm trapped. I am Despo, the savior of worlds. And Sinestro just says, we all made our sacrifices for this war, Despo. Thank you. As he's getting up and about to get the fuck out of Dodge from pissed off Highfather and pursue his current mission, which in an amazing way, we're not quite seeing the full scope of Sinestro's plan because his brilliance is revealed one spot at a time. But anyways, this is the end of movie 1. This is a good stopping point for after he got Highfather to swing and then he got the fuck out of Dodge because he's the GOAT. Let me know what you think of this story so far. If you're interested in it, it's in my server. But this is also Sinestro's New 52 solo run, an absolute amazing run. This was part 1. We're going to do this in either 2 or 3 parts, but this will stand as basically a mini movie on its own. So I'm pretty happy about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this a bunch. Check out my Discord where we do games, prizes, giveaways, D&Ds, and more. We also have a book club. And yeah, it's been your boy Jobbers and Goons, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. Toodle-doo, merry band of bitches. It's your boy, Dr. Goon. God bless everyone tuning in. And it's just one of those things where even if I wanted to make other content, I couldn't get past not finishing this story of Sinestro. It's one of my favorite runs ever. If you have not seen part 1, I will link it in the video description. Eventually, you'll see both parts combined and dropped as a full comprehensive movie so you can watch in one sitting. But I love this story, and we're getting this out the way so I can move on to things like the new Thor, new Hulk, and catching up on all the new comic happenings. But if you guys are a fan of my content, real quick, smash the like button. Let's get it to 300 plus likes. That'd be absolutely amazing. Thank you for your love and support. I hope you guys are prepared for the madness that we're about to undergo with this conclusion to the story. We're getting through a bunch of real shit. You're not going to be able to sit down, stand the fuck up. It's lit. But without further ado, again, if you need context for what happens to Prior, go check out part 1. But let's get right into the story. I don't want to delay any further. Let's begin. So, we kind of cut to Sinestro dealing with Mongul. Now, people have different takes and interpretations on Mongul. Some people like him, some don't. I fucking love Mongul. He is a universal shit starter. He really just shows up to fuck around and do hood rat shit with his friends, right? He's trying to rob Sinestro, and Sinestro's not having it, so he pulls up on Warworld, and he's like, let's see what's good with this big bitch, right? Like, let's see what Mongul's really got up his sleeve. He proceeds to start putting hands on Mongul. Does not really have an issue putting hands on Mongul either. However, during this exchange, he's realizing, okay, Mongul is indeed siphoning the power of Yellow Lantern Rings. Like, I'm not quite sure how he's doing it, and even if I wanted to destroy him right now, it probably wouldn't be to my economic benefit, because I need to know how the fuck he's playing these cards. I need to know what exactly he's up to and how he's getting his point across. And it's even brought up during this wild exchange, during this back and forth between Sinestro and Mongul, that at any point, if Sinestro wanted to, he could just say fuck it and nuke the battlefield. Like, he could just get the drop on him and proceed from there. But again, this is him more so observing someone he knows, even though he hates him. And he makes it very fucking clear. Sinestro's like, this dude's a bitch. He's a yellow belly bitch. I do not fuck with him at all. This is one of the people I hate the most in the universe, because Mongul just goes around starting shit and robbing shit. Okay, he's a dick. All right, everyone can pretty much agree Mongul's an asshole. Like, get in the comment section down below if you agree Mongul's a jerk. But he's trying to figure this out, and as much as he'd like to just smite him and take him off the census, he's got to figure out what's really good. And it's even at that point confirmed, like in this battle, while he's draining Sinestro and whatnot, Mongul can't really fuck with Sinestro in a real 1v1. Even though he's talking shit, even though he's going through these methods to take away the power of Sinestro, he admits during this exchange, like, yo, I really can't fuck with him in the 1v1. And Sinestro is getting drained, and he wants to get to the root of what's going on. So what's he do? He yields. He makes a summoning that we'll see later, but he also yields. He's like, fuck it, Mongul, take me in. I'm not scared of your bitch ass anyway. So Mongul gets taken in, or Sinestro does rather, and he's being tested, observed, and chained, you know. But at this point, if you guys haven't realized, Sinestro's fucking locked in. He's always got a plan for everything. And Mongul's explaining to his subordinates that, you know, the Yellow Lantern Ring and what it signifies is dope, but Sinestro's power goes far beyond just a Yellow Lantern Ring. It is something we can't really quantify, and it's something we desperately want. And this is also a point in which Mongul kind of confirms, like, hey, I actually want a slice of the pie. The big pie being Parallax. He's like, Sinestro, I'm going to force Parallax to come out. I'm going to force you to use it, and then at that point, I'm going to take Parallax and I'm going to go ball in the club. Not a bad idea. Parallax is strong as a bitch. That's when we see the summonings take place. Who did Sinestro call out to that is worth the summoning to Warworld? Well, he summoned the new god, Becca. If you didn't check out part 1, there's a new god general, Becca. Absolute badass. She is a beast. And Sinestro toyed with her a lot. He was messing with her mind. He was letting her know, like, hey, if you decided to wear the yellow stripes, you wouldn't be that fucking bad at what we do. You know, like, you have the natural call to instill great fear. You have the natural ability of a Yellow Lantern legend. And lo and behold, he summons her, and she shows up to scrap. Again, you can see some kind of trepidation with her because she doesn't entirely trust Sinestro, which is fair. Who the fuck does? But she's called here. She's gonna take up arms. And this is where we see Sinestro kind of breaking down fear itself and what it quantifies in the grand scheme of things. While his people are scrapping and putting in work, he says, you know, there's a bunch of emotions, there's a bunch of deities older than time itself spread throughout creation. But people lose sight of the bigger picture. Perhaps the oldest and the greatest of them all is fear itself, which is a theme that will be visited throughout this run. That is very important because a lot of times people they kind of underestimate the value of fear and what it actually means. And as his people are getting the drop on Warworld and Sinestro escapes, he tells Mongul, he tells his boys too, he's like, hey, real shit, I could have fucked you up at any point. And even Sinestro's guys are like, damn, Sinestro wanted to, he could have just wrecked this place. But Sinestro gets the drop on one of Mongul's boys, and he's like, hey, look, I do have mercy. I'm not going to kill your bitch ass. But what you're going to do is you're going to take me to your leader, and I'm going to teach him a thing or two about a thing or two. I'm going to teach him not to fuck with big Sinestro. That's when we see Sinestro gets the drop on the power source that is draining him, right? And he pulls up on Mongul. He's like, hey, bitch, figured out your plan, pussy. Beats the shit out of Mongul. It's like, you can't fuck with me, Mongul. I understand you're using all this prep time, all these plans to try to take me down. It didn't count for shit, okay? It didn't matter. You missed the king. You took your shot and you missed. And he wraps him up in old lantern rings. So encases him and he says, you wanted the yellow power, right, bitch? You wanted this shit. I'll give you what you want. Wraps him up in this and sends him out into the universe. He's like, go float through infinite space, you pussy. Like, I don't want to see you ever again. I told you guys, he hates Mongul. And he let it be known he's trying to do him dirty in this moment. Sends his bitch ass off. And for now, that's what we see from Mongul. We then see he had downloaded the history of Becca. And he did this through Lissa. Lissa being a character who basically has history written on her, including all the greatest nightmares and fears possible. She knows about Sinestro and all that. And Sinestro uses her and his own abilities to kind of get knowledge of everybody, understand everyone. And Becca didn't like this at first. She's like, hey, you shouldn't be downloading my history. You shouldn't be looking at who I am as a person. Like, that's fucked up. And Sinestro said, hey, history is only grand and great if we remember to keep it sacred and to recall what it was. He said, I will forever be able to tell the great story of Becca, the new god. And now we will tell the story of Becca, the Yellow Lantern. Like, you have an epic story. Do not feel bad that I know it. I even know Lissa's story, and no one knows what this crazy bitch does. So he's like, even I know that shit. So, like, don't feel bad. I'm not using it to, like, shit on you or anything like that. I use it because knowledge is important and the past is meant to be remembered. That's when we see one of my favorite crossovers ever. I'm sorry, it is dope as hell that Sinestro and Black Adam are boys. And he pulls up on Black Adam, lets him know, hey, there's these pale bitches going around, anti-emotion thieves. They are trying to ruin the universe and reduce it to nothingness. Obviously, Black Adam might not be the nicest guy you'll ever meet, right? But he also doesn't want creation to go to shit. He has to live there. He has his own people, too. He's kind of like Dr. Doom. And he agrees to go on this kind of religious pilgrimage to get more information and to learn more. And he says, you know, Sinestro, we can't go about this as gods. We're not just gonna fly there. We need to kind of go about this in a humble manner, which is really fucking cool to see, because again, it hints to the respect that Black Adam has for Sinestro as a Yellow Lantern and as a soldier in general. He refers to him as a fellow god, which in my opinion was really dope to see. That is when Black Adam gets into it with the Paling. And Sinestro is observing this. And that's his boy, right? Like, he's like, hey, real shit, I already don't fuck with the Paling. But Black Adam's my guy. And they're trying to jump the boy. And he eventually, seeing Black Adam really struggle with the Paling, which just shows how stupidly strong they are. If Black Adam's will and conviction is being torn apart by these beings, you're dealing with some heavy hitters. And he's starting to fall to it, and they're going to get him to revert to saying Shazam. And Sinestro slaps a yellow hand over his mouth, and he's like, hey, you don't fucking bend here. You don't bend to these bitches. I don't care if I have to make you one of my Yellow Lanterns. Black Adam, you will not fall today. Your end is not meant to be here. Get up. We're going to fuck these people up. And that's when we see Black Adam gets a Yellow Lantern ring. And even at that point, he's massively amped. It just shows how strong the Yellow Lantern ring. Even someone like Black Adam can be amped by a Yellow Lantern ring, despite his already insane power. And that's when we see mistakes have been made. The Paling have found Earth. And that, dude, this next sequence is so fucking crazy. Because we see it like had cut to Wonder Woman, and she's like, oh shit, the monster has found us. And we see another explanation of fear, with fear being possibly the oldest deity to ever exist. Everything creation did was a reaction to fear, whether being brave, being smart, reacting to something, building something. You did it to a certain degree out of fear. Maybe you fear survival. Maybe you fear the unknown. Regardless of what it was, fear is the strongest being, the strongest deity. And at this point in time, it is being attacked by the concept of nothingness. Nothingness is here. This anti-religious pilgrimage is upon them, and they have to step the fuck up. Now, I'm gonna warn you guys right now. I know I've been cussing. I'm probably going to cuss more right here. This is one of my favorite fucking moments in comic books, okay? Stand the fuck up if you haven't already. Smash the like button. This moment, this point in time is historical, okay? Top tier goon shit. So Earth is being invaded. Paling have found Earth. They have made their way to Earth. And this is so fucking funny. Sinestro is observing this, and he's like, oh, fuck. Like, it appears in my journey to fuck these boys up, I accidentally gave them the GPS coordinates to Earth. And he's like, this is a mistake worthy of someone like Hal Jordan. He's in the clutch. He's in the moment of where if he fucks up, creation falls, right? And he makes a Hal Jordan joke. He's like, oh my god, only Hal Jordan could fuck up like this. And I'm sorry, that's just amazing. That just shows how fucking funny Sinestro is. In that moment, first thing he thinks of is like, damn, I really fucked up bad. You might as well call me Hal Jordan at this point. Hal Jordan fans, I'm sorry. Smash the like button, you bitches. You got owned right here by Sinestro. So the heroes are fighting back, and I think I'm gonna title this "Sinestro Surpasses Superman." I do want to preface. I actually talked to GB about this. There are moments in time in New 52 when Superman is absolute dog shit. This very well may be one of those moments, but regardless, characters like Black Adam, Wonder Woman are there. Sinestro's above them and needs to save them. Right? He's juicing them out, and they're fighting. Keep in mind, no one really likes Sinestro on Earth. They don't respect him. They don't respect his cause. He has done some villain shit. We talked about that in part 1, so we understand to a degree. But this is such a beautiful fucking moment. As the heroes of Earth are rallying to fight the Paling, they are failing terribly. They are struggling to stop the paling. Even villains are getting involved because they're like, what the fuck? This is my block too. I'm not trying to die here. I need an Earth to be evil on. So they're getting active too. And it's just not helping. And there's this one little girl. She's terrified. And her mom is like, please don't look. Like, her mom is aware this is crazy apocalypse type event. And the little girl says, don't worry. The heroes are here. And we see my boy Arkillo in the... Oh my god, I'm so hyped. We see Arkillo in the trenches. If you guys didn't see part 1, go see it right now. Arkillo's come up is crazy. He was basically leaving the Yellow Lanterns while Sinestro was in self-imposed hiding. We kind of see him get bitched by Sinestro, and then Arkillo just has a crazy come up. He's like, hey, fuck it. I ride for my boys, right? He rides for Sinestro no matter what. And Arkillo, someone who's been hated, someone who's called a monster. All the Yellow Lanterns who are called absolute war criminals, absolute monsters. Right now, the people of Earth see them for what they are. They are heroes, and they have come here to save even the other heroes. Sinestro pulls up, he says, hey, Earth, today is not your day. It's time we get active. It's time you weaponize what you need against the paling, and that is fear. We need more fear. And he sends out Yellow Lantern rings to everybody. Superman gets one. He says, Superman, you have the ability to instill great fear in others. He sends it to Harley Quinn. He sends it to Deathstroke. He sends it to Scarecrow. Perfect, by the way, fucking perfect. Like, if you're going to give anyone a fear amp, it's probably Scarecrow. That bitch is always trying to give the yerks to other people so they trip off fear. It's just an amazing moment of people loading up on Yellow Lantern rings. Sinestro's powering everybody. He says, hey, regardless if you love me or hate me, we're not going down today. Earth, stand with the Yellow Lanterns. This is when we see, again, more expression of the power of the Yellow Lantern ring. Fear is beyond the duality of good and evil. That's expressed. And I think that's important to note. And it's something we got to talk about because Sinestro has overpowered fear itself. In fact, he fought the entity, the living representation of what fear is. Parallax made it his bitch multiple times in this run. Sinestro is one of the GOATs. I don't care about everyone's opinion on other stories with Sinestro. If you're asking me what is the quintessential story with Sinestro, it's this one, and you're really seeing why. Sinestro then even I hate this character, actually. He even gets someone who's like the GOAT of their Lantern Corps, which is the Blue Lanterns. The Blue Lanterns stand for the power of bitches, right? But the real power is hope. They don't really actually get active. They usually get beat up, but they just try to give hope to other people. And St. Walker is like the embodiment of hope for them, right? He's a fake fucking Superman. And St. Walker even gets powered by Sinestro. Sinestro's like, hey, it ain't the time to be a bitch, Saint. I need you in the trenches. I need you getting active. And it's just another case of his empowerment being absolutely crazy. And all this chaos has built up. As the paling are being fought off by the new Yellow Lanterns and the old Yellow Lanterns, Sinestro pulls up on the Pale Bishop, the leader of the paling in one of the coolest fucking final boss fights ever. So, Sinestro pulls up on Pale Bishop. He's like, hey, pussy, you pulled up on Earth. You pulled up on my universe. Let's get active. Starts swinging on him. They proceed to get into a mind battle, right? He's absolutely assaulted telepathically by the likes of the Pale Bishop, who's going all out to wipe away this blip on his radar. Wipe away this speed bump in the road for him, right? He absolutely puts Sinestro through the mental ringer as he makes him see everything he fears. And Sinestro says in that moment, yeah, like, I'm fucking frightened. If I've failed my people before. I've let my people down before. My people have died because of mistakes I've made. I'm not the man I want to be. I've made mistakes as a man that I'm not proud of. But in that moment, we also realize these are all aspects of Sinestro he's confronted himself. He has talked about to himself. He's figured out what he fears the most and he has embraced it. That's why he is who he is. And this is when we see the mental battle, the tide starts to turn. As he observes the Pale Bishop for who he is. He was a part of one of the biggest jobber corps ever, the Guardians of the Universe. And even though he represents nothingness right now, that nothingness derives from him taking action to reach such heights of power. What caused him to reach for nothingness? Fear. He was frightened of something. And the Pale Bishop tries to talk shit, right? It is one of the coolest fucking moments ever. Sinestro was like, oh, pussy, are you talking shit right now? Was that a stutter I heard? You should have known better than to take me into my own fears. You should have known better than to strike at the core of the fear within Sinestro. And you know what they say, you bitch. When you stare into the abyss, it will stare back. And he swings on the Pale Bishop. He completely takes away the swag of the Pale Bishop. The Pale Bishop's like, oh fuck, I'm dealing with a real one. And we see another cool moment of just how strong Sinestro is right here as he's saving creation. He's saving everyone from the finality of nothingness. Love, hope, anger, and compassion. Some of the biggest emotions in DC. Shit, some of the biggest emotions we will ever deal with in our life. All of this are simply shadows of Sinestro's fear. And it kind of highlights the importance of fear, as we've been speaking on. We love people because we don't want to be alone. Why don't we want to be alone? We're afraid to be alone. Hope. We have hope when we have fear. You know, we're fearing the tornado. We hope it goes away. Anger, compassion, all these things. At the root, you can argue they derive from the fear within us. So regardless how you feel about fear, it is as necessary of a building block for anything in creation. And he takes down the bitch ass Pale Bishop. And even a weakened Sinestro who went through all this, who went through all the bullshit, he sees through deceit. He sees through lies. And everyone around him like, oh my god, we're dealing with the GOAT. Like, regardless of if we love Sinestro, we stand with Sinestro because he's the fucking GOAT. And during that fight, they even said, because people are like, hey, how are the Yellow Lanterns surviving? They said, hey, we're going to keep it a band with you. We would rather die right here than to live and fail and face the wrath of Sinestro. It is better to die fighting for what they need to stand up for than it is to live and face Sinestro knowing they failed him in his mission. We even see at this point, he's got his crew so locked in. He's got his crew so focused that his Yellow Lanterns bullied the Red Lanterns without Sinestro. The Red Lanterns pulled up on them. They said, hey, I know Sinestro ain't here, but you know Sinestro's with us no matter what. Even if he's not here, he still stands with us. We ain't finna get our asses beat knowing we have to go home to, to Sinestro's wrath. So they put in work on the Red Lanterns too, and you're like, damn, bro, he's really brought the Corps together. He's really defined the Yellow Lantern Corps in a way it's never been defined before. And in one of my favorite endings ever, we stand up and salute for Sinestro, okay? He's the fucking GOAT. We started this story talking about how Sinestro exiled himself for his failures. He failed to save his people. He failed to save the people he cared about and loved. And it nearly broke him. And he had said, within the face of inevitability, oftentimes, faith breaks, right? He's standing there and he said, I fucking did it. He's out on the beach. He said, I did what no one thought was possible. In the face of absolute death and defeat, I saved my people when now no one else could. And perhaps one of the hardest lines in hip-hop history. I don't even give a fuck if Sinestro's a rapper, okay? This was straight bars. He said, I have done the impossible and saved my people from their inexorable destruction. Before my faith, even inevitability breaks. And that is how our epic saga ends. Sinestro wins. He saves everybody. He shows everyone he's the fucking GOAT. Love him or hate him, he's gonna do some GOAT shit. And in my opinion, this is one of the greatest runs to ever grace comics. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What did you think of this Sinestro run? What did you think of this movie? I'm going to put these two parts together so you have one cohesive movie. I hope you guys all return to watch it and you all check it out in its totality because it's one of the most fun stories ever. And it's amazing how Sinestro was written in this run. In my opinion, one of the greatest Lantern stories ever told. But anyways, guys, I had a blast doing this. It's your boy Dr. Goons. Stay tuned for my future comic book reviews and movies, and let me know which comic stories deserve a review like this one, its own little movie where I break down what happened and why it's amazing. Definitely let me know. But anyways, I'm signing out here. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. You can join my Discord as well. Subscribe to the channel and join Goon Nation. And I will see y'all later. Peace.